Pro-Hamas protesters take over colleges and universities all around the country. The genocide double standard when it comes to Israel. Nancy Pelosi accuses, get this, an MSNBC host of being a Trump apologist. What in the world has happened to Howard Stern? Joe Biden whines, where's the love for Bidenomics? All of this and more. Welcome to We've Got a Country to Save, hosted by the black face of white supremacy and brought to you by my friends at investyrefy.com. Invest in America like I do, and by Freedom Chat. Speak freely and message privately with Freedom Chat. Download the app today and subscribe to my Freedom Chat channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. We also want to thank Epic Times, Old Glory Bank, Patriot Mobile, and Birch Gold. About these ridiculous pro-Hamas college campus demonstrators, has there ever been a more angry, entitled group of young people who believe not only that the rules don't apply to them and there should be no consequences, but that they make up the rules? Let me give you an example.
So I applied for a job at TJ Maxx a few weeks ago, and they denied my application. They couldn't even call me. They just sent me some automated email. So I went in today and I was like, so what was the reason I didn't get hired? And she was like, oh, like you just like don't have enough experience. There was candidates that had like more experience than you. And, you know, I asked her if it was about my tattoos, obviously, because I know a lot of places don't like tattoos. She said that wasn't the reason. I don't feel like that's true.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you want to tattoo the mess out of your face, be my guest. There is no law against inking your neck with demon symbols or scrawling all kinds of occult imagery across your forehead, just like there's no law against putting 40 studs through your cheeks and your lips or dyeing your eyeballs green. If you're a dude who wants to strut around in fishnet stockings, or if you're a woman who wants to dress up like a cat and meow at everybody, that's not illegal. Supremely stupid, but not illegal. But please, for the love of all that is holy, stop demanding that the rest of us accommodate your insanity. You did what you did to be different. Congratulations, mission accomplished. So if TJ Maxx doesn't want you to be the face of their store for their customers, maybe go see if the circus has any openings.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
Where, oh, where is the ACLU when you need them? When it comes to the pro-Hamas protests on college campuses all over America, where's Joe Biden been? Oh, he finally made a statement, but it was a weak statement. A week or two too late.
The radical extremists and far-left agitators are terrorizing college campuses, as you possibly noticed, and Biden's nowhere to be found. He hasn't said anything.
And I understand that President Biden historically has spoken very forcefully about anti-Semitism. But this week, he's not. He's MIA. Is he that worried about losing the youth vote with these protesters?
I'm going to be mindful. You're talking about youth vote. You're talking about 2024. No.
Young people.
I have to say what I have to say, and just give me a second. So I'm not going to speak about somebody's doorbell. Is that a doorbell?
Alarm.
An alarm. Okay. All right. And I'll speak more broadly. I can't speak to youth and support and voters. That's not something I can do from here. The president has taken a lot of policy actions here that he knows that young people care about. And a lot of those actions are popular with those young folks, whether it's giving a little bit of breathing room with student debt relief. So we made an announcement today, matter of fact, and we are going to continue to do that because we think it's important as families or as an American and you coming out of college and you want to build a family, buy a home, you have the opportunity to do that and not be crushed by student debt. The president understands how important it is to deal with that issue. Climate change, something that young people really, truly care about. One of the crises that the president said he came into having to deal with was the climate change crisis. As the president has taken aggressive action to deal with climate crisis. Look, I can't speak to youth voters or their support. What we're going to do is continue to take actions that we believe helps all Americans and all communities.
Now, Biden at first condemned the, quote, anti-Semitic protests, but then he added, I also condemn those who don't understand what's going on with the Palestinians, end of quote. So good people and bad people on both sides. How out of touch are these pro-Hamas protesters? A new Harvard-Harris survey shows 80% of registered voters support Israel over Hamas. 61% want a ceasefire only if Hamas is removed, and over 70% want the Israelis to move into Rafah and finish the job.
And I made it clear to Israelis, don't move on Haifa.
Hi, folks. Do you trust this economy? What if you could receive a strong fixed rate of return that's not correlated to the stock market or the Fed? And what if you were in control? You could turn your income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose. What if your interest was compounded daily, you were paid monthly, and there were absolutely no fees? And what if you could have peace of mind because there was no attack on your principal if you ever needed your money back? Well, folks, there is an investment with all of these features. Investors all over the country are earning a high fixed rate of return with Yrefy, and they don't care about what happens with the stock market or the Fed. And best of all, they receive their statement every month with no surprises. Would you like some more information? Just call 877-80-INVEST. That's 877-80-INVEST. Or log on to investyrefy.com. That's investyrefy.com. Yrefy, do well by doing good. Now, I think these protests are hurting Biden and helping Trump. As a Trump-hating MSNBC host, Joe Scarborough explains to his stupid Trump-hating viewers. And the word stupid is not mine, it's Joe's.
If you're offended by this, please, I'm trying to help you. I don't want Donald Trump to get elected, all right?
There you go.
Trying to help you. If you're too stupid to figure that out, you change to another channel. Because we're sorting through this as a country, and this is not helping. This is not helping the people of Gaza, and this is not helping those of us who want to fight fascism in America.
If you're too stupid to see this, change the channel. Joe Scarborough, are you saying that the MSNBC viewers are stupid? You see, here's the deal. To the Trump-hating left, these hateful protesters are less about the lunacy of being pro-Hamas and the Jew hatred. I mean, after all, in the case of Joe Scarborough, he regularly sucks up to Al Sharpton, a man with a long history of anti-Semitism. No. It's, oh my God, this chaos might get Trump elected. No problem with 4 months of the BLM protests, some of which turned deadly, you know. Now then, here's my question about this Columbia pro-Hamas supporter.
And so, be glad, be grateful that I'm not just going out and murdering Zionists. I've never murdered anyone in my life, and I hope to keep it that way.
Is this drag queen really leading a pro-Hamas chant?
Today what we're going to do is we're going to shout, Free Palestine. Can I hear that?
Free Palestine!
If you're a drag queen and you know it, shout,
Free Palestine!
If you're a drag queen and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're a drag queen and you know it, shout, Free Palestine! Excellent.
Does this drag queen have any idea what Hamas would do to drag queens? Meet Iran's gay mullah, forced to flee the country because he's gay.
Taha came from a very religious family. His father was a famous local cleric. He attended an Islamic school to become a mullah when he was just 15 and rose up the ranks to become a Hujjatul Islam, a respected authority on Islam. When I met Taha, he told me he tried to keep his sexual orientation quiet, but Taha's life was exposed, especially when he started conducting gay weddings in secret.
قطعا من این کارو میکردم. حاکمیت بعضی موقع پیام میدادن، مثلا حالا از طرف یا اینکه اداره اطلاعات احضار میکرد، اطلاعات سپاه یا وزارت اطلاعات، و میگفت که چرا این کارا رو داری میکنی؟ چرا با این افراد در تماسی؟ تو روحانی هستی، نباید این کارا رو بکنی. از اون طرف هم افرادی بودن که اینها میگن کاسه داغ‌تر از آش. اینها مذهبی هایی بودن که دوستان من بودن، میگفتن ما تو رو گیر میاریم و تا اعدام جلو میریم.
But hey, Islam is a religion of peace, right? Tell that to David Horowitz when in 2010 he gave a speech at the University of California at San Diego.
I just wanted to say thank you for coming to campus tonight and presenting your point of view. It's always valuable to have two sets of views going on at the same time. Very useful. My name is Jumana Imad Musa Ahmed Al-Bahri, and I'm a student here at UCSD. I was reading your literature. I found that much more interesting than the talk. And I found some interesting things about the MSA, which is an organization that's very active on campus, and it is hosting our annual Hitler Youth Week. You should come out to those events. If you could clarify the connection between the MSA and jihad terrorist networks, because last I checked, we had to do our own fundraising, and we never get help from anyone. So if you could clarify the connection between UCSD's MSA, or if you don't have such information, if you could connect other MSAs on UCs, because the connection wasn't too clear in the pamphlet. Just if you could clarify.
Okay. Will you condemn Hamas here and now?
I'm sorry, what?
Will you condemn Hamas?
Would I condemn Hamas?
As a terrorist genocidal organization?
Are you asking me to put myself on a cross?
So you won't. I actually have had this experience many times. You didn't read the pamphlet because the pamphlet is chapter and verse. The main connection is that the MSA is part of the Muslim Brotherhood network as revealed in the documents.
I don't think you understood what I meant by that. I meant if I say something, I'm sure that I will be arrested for reasons of Homeland Security. So if you could please just answer my question.
If you condemn Hamas, Homeland Security will arrest you.
If I support Hamas, because your question forces me to condemn Hamas. If I support Hamas, I look really bad.
If you don't condemn Hamas, obviously you support it. Case closed. I have had this experience, I had this experience at UC Santa Barbara where there were 50 members of the Muslim Students Association sitting right in the rows there. And throughout my hour talk, I kept asking them, will you condemn Hezbollah and Hamas? And none of them would. And then when the question period came, the president of the Muslim Students Association was the first person to ask questions. And I said, before you start, will you condemn Hezbollah? And he said, well, that question is too complicated for a yes-no answer. So I said, okay, I'll put it to you this way. I'm a Jew. The head of Hezbollah has said that he hopes that we will gather in Israel so he doesn't have to hunt us down globally. For it or against it?
For it.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and showing everybody what's here.
But hey, Michael Moore says, let's not overreact. After all, none of these students has committed an act of violence.
None of them are committing any acts of violence. None of them are destroying the university. The worst, maybe, in some people's minds they're doing is holding signs that say "Free Palestine," or from the river to the sea. This is the one that's constantly being thrown out there. Oh, look at this! This sign is frightening all the students from the river to the sea, and it's like, well, why don't you talk to them?
The protest ramped up a couple of weeks ago after students erected tents on Columbia University's main lawn to show solidarity with Gaza, and the university president took the controversial step of calling in the police to arrest those involved. Now, even if you don't agree with the subjects of their protests, as long as they are peaceful, students should be allowed to protest. It's their First Amendment right. That is the kind of idealism you learn in college. It's one of the few college lessons you can use your whole life.
Look, I am grateful to live in a country where people can raise their voices, where they can make them heard by their elected officials. It's crucial that any efforts at protest be peaceful and that no individuals be attacked. No one should feel threatened. This is what open dialogue is about.
Okay, how about a little open dialogue? And of course, once you take over a building, the university has an obligation to bring them water, right? Even though the university is not stopping anybody from bringing them water.
Well, first of all, we're saying that they're obligated to provide food to students who pay for a meal plan here.
But you mentioned that there was a request that food and water be brought in, unless I misunderstood.
To allow it to be brought in. I mean, well, I guess it's ultimately a question of what kind of community and obligation Columbia feels it has to its students. Do you want students to die of dehydration and starvation or get severely ill, even if they disagree with you? If the answer is no, then you should allow basic, I mean, it's crazy to say because we're on an Ivy League campus, but this is like basic humanitarian aid we're asking for. Like, could people please have a glass of water?
They thought about bringing the Pro-Hamas scarves, but nobody thought about water.
Mandrake.
Yes, Dad?
Have you ever seen a commie drink a glass of water?
Well, yeah, I can't say I have, Jack.
Can you weather the storm? Can your savings weather an economic storm? Think about what you've put away for the future. Inflation can render your cash worthless. Real estate can crash like in 2008. Economies built on a mountain of debt can fall like a house of cards. There are very few physical assets you can invest in that can stand the test of time. Gold has withstood as a valued form of money for millennia. It's why people are flocking to it now, and why Birch Gold is busier than ever. Through a little-known tax loophole, Birch Gold lets you convert a retirement account into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. And the best part, it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. To learn more, visit LarryForGold.com and claim your free info kit on gold. Let me ask you this again. Can your IRA or 401k weather an economic storm? If not, call the people I trust, Birch Gold. Visit LarryForGold.com and secure your savings today. That's LarryForGold.com. And this is UCLA, where a Jewish student was beaten to the point of unconsciousness. Is the real goal that UCLA should divest itself from Israel? Or is it more than that? Spoiler alert, it's more than that.
Yeah, I think it's more than divestment as well. I think given the fact that the University of California is founded on colonialism, it's inherently a violent institution. There needs to be an addressment of U.S. imperialism and its ties to the UC system and how it perpetuates war and violence abroad. Not only abroad, but also here, locally. We see this with the brutality, the police brutality that black and brown students face here at UCLA, Arab students, Muslim students, Palestinian students. And I myself have personally been faced those violences that the UC has perpetuated and continues to perpetuate. It's not just a means of divestment, it's a divestment from Zionism. Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember when they used to call stuff like this an insurrection. Now, Michael Moore would say that while this Columbia University protester said Zionists should be killed, the protester hasn't really actually killed a Zionist. So
some of these, there's professors on the campus at Columbia who are encouraging these protests. They have tenure. They can't be fired. The students can be kicked out. I was amazed to learn that, one of the heads of the protests at Columbia, during a disciplinary committee, Zoom call, said that Zionists should be killed and didn't deserve to live. And that wasn't grounds for expulsion. It's only now that that person has been expelled from the school, months after that was already out there.
Let's see. Protesters blocked the highway leading to Chicago's O'Hare Airport. Protesters stopped traffic on the Golden Gate Bridge. A mob of protesters chanting, "Senate can't eat until Gaza eats," marched into the Dirksen Senate office building and caused a cafeteria to shut down. Something like that used to be called insurrection. Pro-Hamas protesters in Dearborn, Michigan chant not only death to Israel, but death to America. Let's revisit, shall we? October 7 last year, Hamas, the anti-Israeli, anti-Jew terror group, commits an unprovoked mass murder of nearly 1,400 Israelis, including men, women, and children.
In an unprecedented surprise attack, the militant Hamas rulers of Gaza sent dozens of fighters into Israel by land, sea, and air. Gun battles raged for hours in communities across southern Israel, and officials on both sides say Israeli soldiers and civilians are now captives in Gaza. At this hour, at least 200 Israelis are reported dead and 1,100 wounded. Palestinian officials say at least 198 Palestinians are dead and 1,600 wounded, most from fighting in Israel.
Terror and carnage on Israel's streets as rockets from Hamas filled the sky. Israelis sheltered in place as dozens of Hamas gunmen entered Israeli border towns. Civilians are sharing videos on social media of unprecedented scenes. Heavily armed militants going house to house, firing machine guns under the cover of heavy rocket fire. This video from Hamas shows how militant paragliders were also able to circumvent Israel's heavily fortified border. Gazans also broke through the border fence separating the narrow strip from Israel. The Israel Defense Forces said Hamas had kidnapped Israeli soldiers and civilians. Hamas said it was holding scores of hostages in Gaza. There were also unverified videos of Gazans purportedly stomping on an Israeli soldier's body, and Hamas militants capturing women and children.
Hamas terrorists raped women, beheaded victims, took hundreds hostage, including some Americans. But these protesters don't seem to care very much, if at all, about that.
This was the scene just a short while ago at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Police clashing with protesters. 12 people were arrested. Hours earlier, protests rocked the University of Arizona, where campus police used chemical irritant munitions to remove protesters. Around the same time at UCLA, pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian groups were attacking each other, hurling all kinds of objects, a wood pallet, fireworks, parking cones, even a scooter. And before that, the NYPD was able to clear Columbia University after protesters barricaded themselves inside a campus building. 300 people were arrested at Columbia and City College of New York. But it is unclear how many were actually students. New York City Mayor Eric Adams warned this morning that professional outside agitators are getting involved.
Now, Greg Roman, writing in the Middle East Forum Observer, makes a suggestion. Why, he said, can't, quote, prosecutors use RICO statutes to press the case against Students for Justice in Palestine for their efforts to harass and intimidate Jewish and Israeli students on college campuses? You know, the same law that prosecutors, he says, used to litigate the 1964 murder of 3 civil rights workers in Mississippi might also apply here, end of quote. Fulton County's Fonnie Lewis, you know, is using a RICO statute in some convoluted way to claim that Trump conspired to steal the election in Georgia. Why can't we apply it here? Why can't the Klan Act be used against these pro-Hamas insurrectionists?
You know, these aren't jokes. These are thoughts. These are things that make you say.
Now let's discuss the root cause of this Jew hatred.
It's a fascinating story because among the middleman minorities, of which the Jews are the most prominent, the hostility to these people in countries around the world is out of all proportion to that, to any other kind of group I can think of. In terms of violence, the number of Chinese killed, let's say, in 1 year, and by mob action exceeds all the blacks lynched in the entire history of the United States. And the number of Armenians killed in Turkey, you know, during the First World War is greater than that. And of course, the number of Jews slaughtered on a number of occasions in history, even before the Holocaust, is greater than that. So that the question is, why this particular kind of people are the targets of so much venomous hatred? And I think the answer is that they not only succeed, they succeed in a way which is a threat to the egos of other people. That is, you can envy a Rockefeller, but he's no threat to your ego because you say, listen, anybody can be rich if he's born a Rockefeller. But the guy who comes here, let's say from Vietnam or Korea, and arrives here with little more than the clothes on his back and a few words of broken English, and a decade later he has his own little business, and you see his son a few years after that getting ready to go off to Harvard or MIT, you got to ask yourself, you either got to, you know, you've got to hate yourself for saying, my God, I've been stagnating, this guy was nothing and now he's risen up, or you're going to have to hate him. And most people, when they have a choice between hating others and hating themselves, they hate others.
Where does the hatred for the Jews come from in history?
Number of places, but they are people who have succeeded an awful lot in the midst of other people who have not. Years ago, one official of one of the Jewish organizations in New York asked me, what can Jews themselves do in order to minimize the hostility they face? And I gave him a one-word answer: fail. Because as long as you succeed, you're going to be hated.
Let's talk about the double standard when it pertains to Israel regarding self-defense. All of a sudden, it becomes genocide. Even MSNBC's Joe Scarborough understands this.
One of my pet peeves seems to be one of your pet peeves, and that is, 2 million people have been killed in the Sudan civil war. I haven't seen a protest at NYU for that. Assad killed 500 Arabs. I didn't see colleges burned down. 500,000 Arabs killed by Assad. Saddam Hussein killed over 1 million Muslims in wars. I gassed them. I didn't see protests there. And yet your school is shut down right now because Israel is responding to the worst attack against Jews worldwide since the Holocaust. Help us sort through that.
And we can debate that response.
Again, I don't know algebra, but I'm pretty good at the common denominators here and why there's no common denominators in all of these. It's just that it's Jews defending their homeland. Because if you look at the numbers, even with American wars, they don't add up.
Well, first off, good to be with you, and I especially appreciate your leadership on this issue. I'll give you some more numbers. 2,200 American servicemen killed at Pearl Harbor. We go on to kill 3.5 million Japanese, including 100,000 in one night. 2,800 Americans in 9/11. We go on to kill 400,000 people in Afghanistan and Iraq. We weren't accused of genocide. You had, if Mexico had elected a jihadist cartel to run their country, and then they incurred into Texas, and on a per capita basis killed 35,000 people, or the population of the University of Texas, and on the way back took the freshman class at SMU hostage and hid them under tunnels, what would we do? It'd be the great Sonora radioactive parking lot. But Jews are not allowed, and Israel is not allowed to prosecute a war. And they are prosecuting a war more humanely than we have done. The ratio of combatants to civilians is, of civilian death to combatant mortality is lower than it was in Mosul, lower than it was in Japan, lower than it was in Germany. So there's just a different standard for Jews in Israel when it comes to prosecuting a war. They're allowed to fight back to a truce, but unlike America or any other Western nation that has attacked this viciously, they're not allowed to win a war. It's a double standard.
Let me ask you a question. How many of you are concerned about the invasion of privacy that is currently going on by the Biden administration? Biden's DOJ is invading individuals' private messages and targeting them based on their political affiliation, and that's why I partnered with Freedom Chat, a private social messaging app that, like me, believes privacy is your fundamental human right. Freedom Chat has variable end-to-end encryption, built-in screenshot protection, no storage of messages on their servers, and no commercial use of user data. I'm such a fan of Freedom Chat, in fact, that I have created my own private channel that you can subscribe to for exclusive content, including never-seen images, videos, and posts. Simply download the app, or if you're on Android, join their waitlist. Search for my channel and subscribe. No one can see the channels that you are subscribed to or the posts that you react to. It's your own perfectly curated private news feed. Speak freely and message privately with Freedom Chat. Download the app today and subscribe to my channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. Did this disruptive Emory University pro-Hamas professor pull a Karen?
fascist. You are Hitler. You are rabid dog. Shame on you. May you never live another day.
I am a professor.
This is a Hitler professor, everyone.
I am a professor of economics.
You are rabid dogs. You are...
Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am?
Do you know who I am? I'm Mo Green. Do you know who I am?
I am a professor of economics.
I'm a professor of economics. I know how to give you inflation. At the University of Michigan, they called in law enforcement.
Yeah. Hi. Hi. Boo!
Meanwhile, at the University of Texas, protesters were not happy when dragged away by the authorities. North Carolina ain't exactly UC Berkeley.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last whose cross Christ and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air.
Meanwhile, at a mosque in Dearborn, Michigan, we learn that the Jews need to be re-educated. Jews need to understand they are the fascists. They are the Nazis. They are ISIS.
هؤلاء كانوا يبتهجون إذا قتلوا الأنبياء. نحن صرنا عم نتكلم عن حقائق اليوم. أشياء مفضوحة ومكشوفة لا تخفى على أحد. في تاريخهم كانوا يقتلون حتى المصلحين بينهم والأنبياء. إذا شخص مصلح الآن هناك إذا في شخص مصلح يتكلم بالحق والحقيقة يسجن وقد يقتل، وهكذا كانوا يفعلون مع الأنبياء. والصهيونية هي داعش اليوم. إذا كان هناك داعش للمسلمين هناك داعش لليهود. بل هذا الداعش هو أقصى وأردأ بمليون مرة من داعش المسلمين. خلينا نعرف، بمليون مرة لم يقترف الدواعش هذا الإجرام الذي يقترفه الصهاينة. هلا انتظر شوي، المعركة بتهدأ، رح تطلع أصوات هؤلاء المغفلين الحمقى في عالمنا مرة أخرى. أي سلام نريد أن ننشئ مع هؤلاء؟ نحن في أمريكا أي سلام، حتى في أي مكان. هؤلاء الصهاينة هنا في أمريكا حتى وحشيون متوحشون في كل مكان، ما عندهم أي تأنيب ضمير لما يحدث هناك. هناك ثلة من اليهود لا انتفضوا على ما يحصل ويرفضون هذا الأمر، لكن الصهاينة اليهود مجرمون، وهذا هو الخطر العظيم المحدق بجميع البشرية. إسرائيل هي خطر عظيم محدق، كيف كانت النازية خطر عظيم محدق بكل الدول اللي كانت حولها، كيف كانت هذه دولة الخلافة الداعشية خطر عظيم، والجميع كان يريد إنهاء وجود كيان داعش وكيان النازية. هذا الخطر العظيم ما فيك تزيله، ونقولها بكل صراحة، إلا إذا أزيل. بدك دولة ديمقراطية حقيقية تحتاج أن تثقف اليهود الصهاينة.
Speaking of Germany, forget about free Palestine and from the river to the sea. Guess what over 1,000 Muslims in the streets of Germany are demanding?
Dass seine Bürger nicht gegeneinander ausspielen, sondern Andersdenkende respektiert und ihnen Sicherheit gewährleistet. Ja, meine lieben Teilnehmer, das in Deutschland dämonisierte System.
That's right. They want their own state, a caliphate within Germany. Ever think maybe they should just go back to their countries where they already had a state? Now, the organizers are protesting the Islamophobic policies of the German government and the German national media. Meanwhile, at Harvard, students cheer when the American flag is replaced with the Palestinian flag. Back to UCLA.
Hi, my name's Chad. I work in student affairs.
Hi.
You're welcome to have the flags. The polls, though, you can't have those because in the past they've been used as a weapon.
I'm from Israel.
How's it been here for you?
Be careful.
Yeah, thanks.
A few months ago, they were walking around with knives.
Just to say someone is completely evil, it's what creates polarization.
Terrorists came into Jewish homes and raped and burned women and children alive. Is that evil? I've seen Palestinian rallies here with lots of flagpoles.
If you have an opportunity to remove them, we will.
If you gave them a gun, they would not plow down Hamas. Let's see you do it. Bombing hospitals is evil.
Well, they're not bombing hospitals. That just shows your ignorance.
I'm sorry, I just want to say in big fun I saw you at Harvard.
Please, no negative at the universe. Write the flag.
We were doing a law school event and it ended up being at the Skirball Center. A bunch of students had a big issue with this because it was the Skirball Jewish Cultural Center, the literal arm of genocide or something. Yeah, they went to attack it, the most blatantly anti-Semitic thing where it was clearly just because it had the word Jewish on it.
And I think it's a penal code issue.
Can I see that penal code?
I mean, I can look it up for you. I'm just saying it so you don't have to deal with someone else. Okay. The other people who would be the police and they would escort you off campus.
Oh, this is free speech.
I was so worried walking on campus today. We're going to see maybe my son's
We're up there at Bruins for Israel. We're tabling.
I should carry some of these around with me. Okay, I'll take 5.
5?
Yeah, I give them out. A few haters around and then make some good footage. Later. If I get kicked out, you can see it on Instagram.
Now, this Democrat New York congressman has an excellent idea. Let's bring the Jew-hating Palestinians in Gaza to America, where they can practice their Jew hatred on American soil. That's the ticket.
Should the United States bring in people from Gaza?
Well, we are a land of immigrants, and we are a land of asylum seekers. Anyone escaping persecution and oppression and violence, the United States has always been an open home to those people. So whether they're coming from Palestine, Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, Mexico, Haiti, they're coming here to contribute to our economy, which 99.9% of them are. We've always been a place to open our doors to immigrants coming here. So yeah, fully support that, and also fully support amnesty for the migrants who have been here for quite some time.
I have an even better idea. How about the surrounding Muslim countries take these Palestinians from Gaza into their countries? The Gaza Palestinians wouldn't have to travel so far, wouldn't have to learn a new language, adapt to a different cuisine, and where the residents share their hostility towards Jews and Israel. Win-win. Now, about these pro-Hamas protesters on college campuses, what do you think Trump would do?
We're going to hold on to him by the nose, and we're going to kick him in the... We're going to kick the hell out of him all the time, and we're going to go through him like crap through a goose.
Americans have had enough of supporting companies that hate our values. Tired of compromise? So am I. It's time to switch to Patriot Mobile, America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They are an example of putting the cause ahead of profits, and that's why I'm proud to partner with them. Patriot Mobile offers dependable nationwide coverage, giving you access to all 3 major networks, which means you get the same coverage you've been accustomed to without funding the left. When you switch over to Patriot Mobile, you're sending a message that you support the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the sanctity of life, and our military vets and our first responder heroes. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service team makes it easy to switch, keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their team will help you find the best plan for your needs. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT. That's patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation when you use the offer code Larry. Join me and make that switch today. patriotmobile.com/Larry, patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT. Now, Trump's criminal trial continues. And I thought this CNN host was going to bust a vein when she heard this.
It's pretty unusual for the number 3 person in the Department of Justice to then go to the New York prosecutor's office to bring a bogus case against Donald Trump, and then to have the judge presiding over that case to be a donor to Biden-Harris. I think that's pretty unusual, Caitlin, and really is, aside from your views or anyone else's views about Donald Trump, this is a real threat to Americans' trust in the legal system. If you look at polling, even a lot of folks who are going to vote for Joe Biden think that the lawfare against Donald Trump is bogus. We're destroying faith in the American system of law and order to try to bring down Joe Biden's political opponent. That's a threat to democracy.
A fact to a toe tag liberal is like kryptonite to Superman. Let's turn to Biden, shall we?
Joe Biden has vision, he has knowledge, he has a strategic thinker. This is a very sharp president.
He is sharp. He is on top of things.
President Biden is strong. He exercises. He rides his bike. He's sharp mentally.
He's pretty sharp. And he's got a very good grasp of the issues.
He is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
I guess I should clear my mind here a little bit and not say what I'm really thinking.
What the devil happened to Howard Stern?
Can I tell you a fantasy I had? I don't know if you're going to debate your opponent.
I am somewhere. I don't know when. I'm happy to debate him.
This is how I would handle it. Tell me if I'm nuts. Well, I am nuts, but tell me if this is accurate. I would stand there on stage with Trump and I would repeat over and over again, excuse me, please find me 11,000 votes so that I can win the election. I would just repeat that over and over again. And then I'd say to the audience, what are we debating? A man picked up the phone and wanted to say, fake the election, give me 11,000 votes. I don't know how any American who loves this country That's the end of the debate. You don't get to run if you're going to fix an election.
On January 6th, when they were storming the Capitol.
And a police officer died.
Yeah, and he would say nothing. He was sitting in that office that dining area off the Oval Office for 3 hours and said nothing. I was supposed to make a speech on the economy that day. Instead, I made a speech I was in Delaware on that issue because I was elected president, but I wasn't sworn in yet. It was derelict. It was almost criminal. He did nothing. He just sat there and watched what was happening. Not a single, and now he wants to he calls them patriots and victims, and says he's going to pardon them all if he's reelected.
Really, law professor Howard Stern? Really? What happened to you?
I mean, what happened? Did you drop off?
Now, law professor Stern asking the Secretary of State of Georgia to find me 11,000 votes does not mean steal those votes. It means make sure you counted every vote. That's it. That's all you got? Trump wanted to remain in office and used every legal means to do so, just as Democrats did back in 2000 when they believed the election was stolen from Al Gore.
The standard at least has to be that he did something much worse than previous people have done. This has happened since George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Aaron Burr, Tilden Hayes, Kennedy, particularly 2000 when I was involved on behalf of Al Gore, who should have been president. He was cheated out of the election. We used every legal gambit in the book. We tried to create alternate slates of electors. We lobbied state officials. We demanded recounts. We ultimately lost. Now, Al Gore was a mensch. He left. He agreed that after the Supreme Court erroneously ruled against him 5-4, he walked away. But if he had contested the election, that would not have been a crime. It might have been bad manners, bad politics, but it wouldn't have been a crime. It's not a crime to contest an election. It's not a crime. And the hypothetical I would use on my students is as follows. Let's assume hypothetically Trump was right and the Georgia election was stolen. If that were the case, everything he did would have been proper. It would have been commended. We would have praised him for turning the election correctly. And if that's true, and if he honestly believed, and that's going to be the key question, if he honestly believed the election was stolen, then you have to judge his actions based on that subjective belief, not on a reasonable basis.
Doesn't that make Mr. Dershowitz an election denier?
The Chinese Communist Party is after control. They don't want anybody to know what they have really done.
Our way of life is being censored by the Chinese Communist Party.
They said, we get a lot of our money out of China. Is there any way you could make this movie a little bit more attractive to the Chinese?
Is it really just about money? Are there other parts at stake?
I had friends in Hollywood who said, this will kill your career. You won't get funding. They're afraid of even mentioning one line.
Chinese influence was playing into what we see in U.S. films.
China said, you can't have that in there. And Hollywood listened.
This is insane. This is a joke, right?
The Chinese Communist Party followed no rules.
What's at stake? The soul of the nation is at stake. We want indoctrination access to America. They could basically take over America without firing a shot because they control access to our minds.
People have been brainwashed without knowing it.
Now, Drew Barrymore's interview with Kamala Harris makes Howard Stern's interview with Joe Biden seem like Mike Wallace on 60 Minutes.
Why are you so reluctant? I gotta get over here, Mike.
I've been thinking that we really all need a tremendous hug in the world right now.
Yeah.
But in our country, we need you to be Mamala of the country.
Good afternoon, sir, and how are we today?
Better.
Better?
Better get a bucket. I'm gonna throw up.
Gaston, a bucket for monsieur.
Pass the barf bag.
There's still more.
Allow me. A new bucket for monsieur. And the cleaning woman.
Meanwhile, in the real world, how do swing state voters feel about Biden's economy?
And a majority of swing state voters, Matt, see worsening economic conditions in the coming months. So that doesn't spell optimism for the Biden camp. Less than 1 in 5 respondents say they expect inflation and interest rates to be lower by the end of the year. And then more than 3/4 say that Biden is responsible for how they feel about the economy, which is in a very good mood. And more than half said that he is very responsible.
Biden has run the government like Robin Hood, essentially in reverse, stealing from the poor and giving it to the rich. That's actually what he does. You know, they talk the game, oh, Trump, Trump, Trump. It's the opposite.
We're men in tights. We run from the rich and give to the poor, that's right. We may look like pansies, but don't get us wrong or else we'll put out your lights. We're men in tights, tights. Always on guard, defending the people's rights. When you're in the fix, just call for the men in tights. We're bunch.
Did Biden say he was exporting American jobs?
Unemployment hasn't been this low for this long for 50 years. Wages are rising. Instead of importing foreign products, we're exporting and exporting American jobs. We're exporting and exporting American jobs.
Now, when Republicans were investigating whether Biden should be impeached, this is what the alleged news channel MSNBC played.
All right, so let's get it straight. We're 62 hours away from shutting down the government of the United States of America, and Republicans are launching an impeachment drive based on a long debunked and discredited lie.
What a day we are having here, isn't it? Right? I mean, listen, as a former director of emergency management, I know a disaster when I see one.
And I want to say thank you to Mr. Donald Trump for calling this hearing today. We see the long arm, but little hands of Mr. Donald Trump, whose fingerprints are all over this hearing and this sham impeachment.
Donald Trump impeachments. Oh, how many impeachments? We got 2 there. How many indictments? We got 4. How many for Biden? 0. Donald Trump is right. He's sick of winning. He's just winning, running away with it. And that's why we're here. They can't save Donald Trump. They can't take away the 2 impeachments and the 4 indictments. But they can try to put some numbers on the board for Joe Biden. But the problem is when you sling mud, you got to have mud. And they just don't have anything, Mr. Chairman.
Honestly, if they would continue to say if or Hunter and we were playing a drinking game, I would be drunk by now.
If the Republicans had a smoking gun or even a dripping water pistol, they would be presenting it today, but they've got nothing on Joe Biden.
Come on. If you all think there's so much evidence, we're here. Call the vote on impeachment. Impeach him right now. I dare you.
MSNBC hates Trump. Everybody knows that. But wait. Nancy Pelosi accuses an anti-Trump MSNBC host of being an apologist for the aforementioned former President Trump.
Hold up.
I kid you not.
Joe Biden is doing that, created 9 million jobs in his term in office. Donald Trump has the worst record of job loss of any president. So we just have to make sure people know.
That was a global pandemic.
He had the worst record of any president. We've had other concerns in our country. If you want to be an apologist for Donald Trump, that may be your role, but it ain't mine. And he has the worst.
I don't think that anybody can accuse me of that.
All right, then don't you waste my time no more. You hear that? Go away. Go back to the docks where you belong. You go back to being a two-bit nothing. But don't you ever come back here again, because I'm too old to waste my time trying to train a no-good loser like you, you bum.
Well, I don't think anybody could accuse me of that. You see, it's not enough for MSNBC to go 24/7 wall-to-wall hatred of Trump. Don't dare bring up any fact about what COVID did to the Trump economy. No, Dems expect the liberal media to remain completely, totally in the tank for Biden, and do not crawl out of that tank. The media are overwhelmingly left-wing, pro-Democrat. Only 3% of journalists are registered Republicans, you know. And when reporting is not always to the liking of Democrats, the leaders go ballistic. Here's what Ann Compton, formerly of ABC News, said about the then President Obama after she retired from ABC News.
I have seen in the last year Barack Obama really angry twice. Both were off the record times. One profanity-laced, where he thought the press was making too much of scandals that he didn't think were scandals. Another where he took us to task for not understanding the limits he has with foreign policy and the way he's dealing with the Middle East and Iraq and Afghanistan. And I don't find him apologetic, but I find him willing to stand up to the press and look him in the eye, even though it was off the record, and just give us hell.
Does he have a point?
From his point of view, he may, but we cover what we are allowed to cover. And when policy decisions and presidents are inaccessible and don't take questions from the press on a regular basis, I think they reap what they sow.
This, for example, is what MSNBC hosts are supposed to say, in this case, about what would happen if, God forbid, Trump wins in November.
I've seen that toast a bunch of times, but it landed very differently this year, because depending on what happens in November, 7 months from right now, this time next year, I might not be sitting here. There might not be a White House Correspondents' Dinner or a free press. While our democracy wouldn't exactly fall apart immediately without it, the real threat looms larger. A candidate with outward disdain, not just for a free press, but for all of our freedoms and for the rule of law itself.
Trump could take me off the air. Now, Trump was president from January 2017 to January 2021, and somehow, some way, she remained on the air. But don't tell that to James Carville.
If they get a hold, there will be no government left. There will be no rights left. You'll live under theocracy. You'll end up with Christian nationalism. But that's all right, you little 26-year-old. You don't feel like the election's important to me. They're not addressing the issues that I care about.
The good news is that not all Americans think like MSNBC hosts.
What's it like seeing so many Republicans in Manhattan, so many Trump supporters in Manhattan? Does that surprise you?
No, not at all. It's turning now. Trump's turn again.
What's your message to Joe Biden?
You.
Are you afraid of being debanked, and that's a thing, because of your political views or because maybe you are affiliated with the NRA? You need a bank that adheres to your values. Old Glory Bank believes in privacy, security, and liberty. No law-abiding customer will ever get canceled. Our mission is the Constitution. Again, privacy, security, and liberty. And get this, open an account at oldglorybank.com, and when you get your debit card in the mail, activate it, and you'll get a copy of my book, As Goes California, at a 50% discount. Can you believe it? So, oldglorybank.com, when you get your debit card in the mail, open it, activate it. And when you do, you'll get a copy of As Goes California, My Mission to Rescue the Golden State, at 50% off. Again, oldglorybank.com, that's oldglorybank.com. And a couple of final notes. Sometimes it takes a child. And last but not least, we leave you with this exchange between a homeless man and a generous lady.
Hey, excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Hey, by any chance, would you happen to have at least some change on you?
You mean you need some money?
Yeah, just some change.
Okay, just a moment. Let me get this purse.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Well, I don't know how much I have, but I got $1. Okay. I'm $1. Is this enough to help you, sir?
That's enough.
Well, I'm sorry, that's all I have right now. I haven't gotten any more money.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Ma'am,
yes.
If I could ask you.
Yes?
Why'd you help me out?
Well, you look like you needed some help, sir. You look like you needed some help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I just thought I would help you. You know, to be honest with you, I'm going through a bit of a hard time myself.
And I figure if I needed some help, I would have asked someone too. And during COVID, I lost my house. My husband passed away 4 years ago, so it's just me by myself with my dog. And then my dog got into a car accident. Well, a car hit my dog, so I had a lot of bills to pay for that. And I'm so sorry. I almost lost my dog. So, because my dog is my life. I don't know. If do you have animals yourself?
I have no animals.
Well,
but I know what you mean.
Well, it's my life. My dog is my life. So when my dog got hit, it was $12,000 for the operation for him.
Oh my goodness.
And he's all right. He's all right now. But I mean, that was a very hard time for me. And I live in an apartment. And when I was younger, it was $500 to rent a small room. Now it's $1,200. It's gone up so high, and look at the price of gas. As you can see, gas tank it cost me $15. A few years ago to fill up my car, but now it's $50 to fill up my car, and it's just outrageous. I don't know how people live with the amount of money that I've had to shell out, and then I also give 10% to the church that I go to. So it's just been very hard for me. It's been very, very challenging for me. And I mean, I try hard, and sometimes I can't even go out because I don't have gas money to go out. You know what I'm saying?
Where do you like to go?
Oh, we have church bingo. I know it sounds stupid. We have dance. I'm in charge of all the dance recitals that we have occasionally. My friends, I help. I volunteer at the food bank as well. We have a food bank, and then I cook the food, and so I don't always have the money to get the ingredients. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cry, but it's just hard. It's hard being by yourself. I'm by myself, really. And I go to church, and I help cook, and I do as much as I can for this.
And you're just trying to get around. Where are you going right now?
Oh, right now I have to meet the girls. We're going to be talking about a new way to raise money for. There's cats that are homeless right now as well, and the cats have nowhere to go, and they need to get fixed and neutered, so that they don't have more cats, because once cats are out in the wild, they keep having more cats.
Yeah.
So we're raising money for that. We just did another one for women to help them get jobs. Have you heard of that? Where we donate clothes so they.
So you just love helping people.
You got me on that one.
So you just always in the helping spirit.
I am. I just believe, what goes around comes around, and also I just think, this world is falling apart. People need to help. They got to help. I mean, don't you kind of believe that too? I mean, I'm sorry. I know are you homeless yourself?
I am.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
I was actually just walking around and trying to see if somebody would give me some money. I really appreciate the fact that you would help. Thank you.
Well, of course I would help. I mean, how would I not?
How can you stay so optimistic through so much hardship?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you call it optimistic. I mean, I've had a really struggle myself. I've struggled quite a bit. But I just have belief in God and the planet. I just believe. I just think that helping. I can help other people. Why not?
You haven't pumped your gas yet.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You distracted me.
Would you want me to pump it?
No.
I mean, you gave me money. Can I pump it for you?
What's your name?
My name is Jabri.
Hi, Jabri.
Nice to meet you. What's your name?
Sandra.
Sandra?
Uh-huh.
Sandra, you are such a sweet lady. You are so sweet. And Sandra, I like to bless you.
Thank you.
Can I bless you?
Of course you can.
Okay. Well, first, Sandra, take this money back.
You don't need it?
I don't need the money. You can take it back.
Are you sure?
And Sandra,
Seriously,
I don't need the money. I don't need the money. I'm gonna put this cup right here so it doesn't blow away.
You want me to buy you a drink inside?
You're okay. Sandra, if I could.
Oh, what are you? Oh my gosh, you look very nice.
Sandra, you are the sweetest person I think I've ever met in my entire life. And Sandra, the world needs more people like you.
You're very handsome.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Sandra, I like to bless you.
What are you doing right now?
Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Sandra, if I could pay for your gas, can I pay for your gas?
I mean, you don't have any money, Jibri.
No, I do. I'm not homeless. I am not homeless at all. No. And Sandra.
You got me good. Okay, you got me good.
And Sandra.
Oh my gosh, you look fantastic.
Thank you so much. And Sandra, I would like to also bless you with something else, okay? After filling up your tank.
I am single, you know that.
I'd like to bless you $10,000 to help you out.
No.
Because I think that this you deserve it, because people like you will continue to keep making the world a better place. So I believe this money is better in your hands than anyone else's hands. Take this money. This is for you. And
So sure about this, Jibri?
yes, I am so sure.
Much. I really appreciate it.
No problem. No problem. You are a superstar.
Thank you,
and you are an amazing person.
Thank you so much.
Did she just hit on that brother?
Cream? No, thank you. I take it black. Like my man.
Hope you enjoyed our show, brought to you by my friends at investyrefy.com. Invest in America like I do. And by Freedom Chat. Speak freely and message privately with Freedom Chat. Download the app today and subscribe to my Freedom Chat channel at Larry Elder. You're going to get exclusive posts and never before seen content. And remember, we've got a country to save.